Good morning. It's April 16, and we got by tax day. It wasn't easy, but yeah, I did my joint return over the weekend, and then our two boys, with my cajoling, agreed to have me assist them in their tax return for this year, which was completed at 11 p.m. last night. It's no big deal. I mean, TurboTax is magical in this regard. They have a great application. It cost a few $100s, for two of the returns, and not so much for one of the returns. And, so anyway, it's now April 16th. It's 68 degrees in the studio. I am properly dressed. It's over 80 outside. See, I should be able to. 67 degrees outside, 68 degrees inside. In the sun, however, it's 94 degrees outside, because my trusty thermostat, I have a thermo sensing device that's hanging very high on the outside of my window of our sliding glass doors, and it's telling me the outside temperature at 94 point, humidity of 42%. That makes sense. A little drier air, I guess. I was looking at my weather thingies, and it doesn't tell me. If I touch weather, does it? Looking at one of my devices here. Sunny, 83 of a high and a low of 65, and it's currently 67. Okay, that's not bad for. Yep. I hope you likewise have completed your tax duties through your accountants or tax preparers. Anyway, that's always. So two of us gets refunds, one of us does not. Meaning of our two boys and ourselves. Fortunately, I get a refund, or we get a refund. One boy gets the refund, and one boy does not. It's always something. But the boy that's not getting a refund is making, he's doing well. Sales manager at one of, what is this? Continue it out. X. This is the Simulcast. Well, this is a Simulcast right now. I just got a notice on my special board here. I don't know if you saw it. I don't know if you can see it. That this is a simulcast between YouTube Live and Facebook Live. Twitter Live was with us for about 4.5 minutes and then bellied out. Our internet connectivity is not the sharpest on the planet. One of the reasons why we're thankful for Epidemic Sound Instrumental without copyright. Which is our background music, which keeps the streaming. So that when I take a breath, the streaming doesn't stop. We want to have a constant flow of bits and bytes through the pipe. You have to think of it, remember we're uploading, so uploading means we're putting bits and bytes into the pipe, and you're receiving it as it drips out of the pipe into your device, so you can see and hear what's going on. Hello. Yeah, it's the 16th, as you can tell, with all the 16s all over the place. You can see it on this iPad, and then you see it shaking on your device. And of course, since you're looking on the right side of the screen, you see my finger shaking it, and there's a little bit of a delay, about 50 milliseconds or so. Boing, boing. Yeah. Anyway. Let's see, favorites. We're going to look at all our favorites. There you go. There's a little message I got last night at 11:24 p.m. Dear Daniel, your federal return was accepted. That's good. That's by the IRS, directly from TurboTax, which got the information directly from the Internal Revenue Service. And Marilyn was gracious enough as to bring me a little tidbit, a little piece of banana bread. Oh my God, do I love banana bread. And of course she went to an event yesterday morning. Said event, not too sure I know what it was, but she brought home some banana bread with a banana in a container, in a to-go container. Apparently everyone got a banana and banana bread. Oh my God. Next time she goes to one of those things, I want 2 banana breads. Actually, it had 2 pieces in there. I'll take 4, please. That can be, there's a lot of bananas in banana bread, in case you're not familiar with making banana bread. This is the coffee I'm drinking, in case you're interested. Remember I said we're having our coffee clutch. You're sitting on, there's several of you sitting around our table. And through my K-Cup Cuisinart K-Cup, 1 cup at a time coffee thingy. that holds 72 ounces of water on the left side, and you push this thing down, which punches a hole inside of here, and underneath there's a hole punched so that then it drips into your flows into this case my 20-ounce mug, which keeps said coffee warm, as we chat here. Yeah, that's what I'm. Starbucks. Oh gosh, just lost somebody else. A streaming error. So Facebook Facebook will reconnect. I'm happy to say. I'm not too sure what X does. So instead of this being a simulcast, it is we have just one fishing hook out in the water, and it is YouTube Live. I like YouTube. We are having some what is known as jitter in our internet connectivity. I'm doing a little test right now to see what's going on. Milliseconds is... Oops, there we go. 27 millisecond ping, which is a little slow. The download speed is very slow. I guess I'm going to have to take that appointment with Xfinity, because the internet connection is just terrible, and I'm only 30 feet away from the router. Now I'm getting 52 megabits per second up, and 57 down, which is, that's pretty. I mean, the up is fine, but the down is terrible. But it's enough to survive, this connection that we have here. If I don't talk too fast. Yeah. Good morning, Boca Raton. A beautiful sunrise. Yes. It's 6:50 something. Just when the sun peaks up over the horizon, bang. That is sunrise. Actually, not when this. My trusty boy cat is watching me, or watching something. It's hard to jump into there. But I'm looking out over the balcony, taking a picture of the sunrise, and the little kitty cat is staying with me outside, looking in the direction that I'm looking at. Yep. So this is a reviewer, and he did a podcast. Everyone's podcasting. We've gone over 400 episodes over a period of time. Ooh, let's drop this down just a little bit. There we go. I have a boom mic, boom. That's why they call it a boom mic, because it goes boom, boom when you touch it. So what do? Don't touch it. That's not complicated. Yeah. Keep your hands in your pockets. Anyway, this guy likes. There's a new design that came out in March. Let's just say mid-March. Could be March 1. You would think Tesla would have, some... Anyway, it was in March when they started fabricating it in Austin, Texas. It's already released also in Germany. They have a big factory in Germany. That was a challenge, trying to get the factory built. But I mean, those Tesla people are really, I mean, they can put together, if you would, you need to go to YouTube just for the fun of it. You don't have to be a technology, crazy person, go to YouTube and do a search for the Tesla factory tour. And there's a couple of people that were permitted to have a video crew in there while Elon is being interviewed, and they're tramming around through the factory in Austin, Texas. Or you can go through the one in Germany. YouTube, has several of these tours. And it's just it is a stimulating, exciting way in which, a sophisticated business like Tesla that has a remarkable car. I mean, I've interviewed a number of people that have Tesla cars, and they have the same reaction I do. And there are all kinds of, one guy owns a flower business. One guy does, he's a chemical engineer and does testing of water systems all over the southern states of Florida, Georgia, Carolina. In other words, he's hired by municipalities to check their water as it's being produced and pumped into the system, so that when you open up your faucet, there's a certain quality level of the water. Well, Spectrum Laboratories, this is a company that this gentleman owns, does the testing. There's a number of companies that do that kind of testing. Spectrum is just one of them, a real good one. When I was in the banking world, he was one of my favorite clients. Now he's just and I've done consulting work with the owner of the company since then. And he has several Teslas, like 3 or 4, maybe more. Uses them in his business because they pick up samples all over the place. So a valued associate of Spectrum will, have driving privileges of one of the company cars, kind of thing. And they drive around and pick up samples from all over the state of Florida and Georgia, maybe Carolinas. So you have a guy in the south and you have a guy in the north, and the owner of the company is a commercial pilot who owns a twin-engine jet, I think it's a Cessna 510, spectacular piece of equipment. He flies all over the place, This is the White House, by the way. Whoops. There's an article about, what happens if someone like this shows up. What are you going to do? I'm going to run for the hills. El Salvador's president says he will not return any of the people from his prison that are El Salvadorian residents or citizens of El Salvador. We apparently sent one down that was not one of the he's a gang member, and they've proven that he's a gang member, and he's got probably a tattoo or two that verifies that. And other people, oh yeah, watch out, you'll cut something off. But he didn't currently do something illegal, which is not the requirement. If you come into the United States without the papers, and you don't come through the front door, in other words, you didn't request a visa and get a visa, which then they stamp your passport, assuming you have one. But if you're a scumbag, gang member, you probably don't have a passport. Therefore, you have nothing to attach a visa to. I've got a passport book behind me, and there are pages. They're like 30 or 40 pages, and they stamp it, and it tells you when the visa was granted as you walk across the border. You're staring the foreign country's border security person. He stamps your page of your passport. And most countries, within 30 or 60 days, you either have to go back into your embassy and get another visa, or you have to go. You can't just stay. At least not in the United States. And try it in Germany. You go into Germany, they stamp your passport, and what is your business? And you either state your business or you say you're on vacation, whatever. I intend to leave in several weeks. And they look you in the eye and says, "Welcome to Germany. Do you have any relatives in Germany?" No, they don't ask you that. Just kidding. Stalag 13, remember that program? Pamela Bondi, our new Attorney General, is being very active in producing results for Trump regarding they have just filed a civil lawsuit against the state of Maine because they are not complying with, like Title IX or something like that, where, I may be mixing up my titles, but no men in women's sports. And the governor of Maine said, "I'm not," yeah. And Trump looks at her. They were in a meeting of all governors, can you believe it, in the White House. All the governors that decided to show up, which is, most all of them, unless they're sick or out of country. It's a meeting it's an annual meeting of governors. And the governor of Maine was sitting over on the right side of this room, from the position of the TV cameras, screen left, if you will. And he looks around and he said, "Is the governor of Maine here by chance?" She raises her hand over there in the far right front of the room. I don't know what room they were in. And he said, "Are you permitting men and women's sports?" Biological men, when you're born, you either got a wee-wee or you don't. If you do, you're a boy, and if you don't, you're a girl. There's no halfway at birth. These other traits are acquired skills, if you will. Anyway, she said, "Oh yeah, no." He basically said, "No federal funding. You're getting $300-400 million from the federal government. That is stopping right today if you're refusing to abide by no boys and girls sports. 49 states agree with that, or, whether they like it or not, but they have to comply, or they are not, no one is going to receive, none of them are going to receive federal funding unless they comply with no boys and girls sports. I mean, that ruins girls sports. Boys are built different body size, different bone structure, different muscle structure, all that kind of business. Yep. Well, Bondi, protecting women's sports. The Department of Justice has just filed an action against Maine today. And I did not hear, Jonathan Turley was on remarking about that, and so I think there's, recent Supreme Court support for that. It seems like I saw with the, you see where my finger is moving? 68% of the people that were polled, a sampling of the entire country, support no men in women's sports. Can you imagine the 32%? Oh yeah, no, we want boys and the girls. I think I'm going to call myself a girl and take some pills and have some psychological evaluation because I think I'm a girl even though I'm a boy. And I couldn't get first, second, or third place swimming in the boys division. Let's try the girls division. No. Trump says, DOJ is suing Maine civilly for defying the trans athlete ban. I guess it was an executive order, which, executive orders are pretty serious business, particularly when you ran on, such a thing, as a as a candidate for president, and he had a lot of big rallies and he had a lot of news coverage, and he would cover all these topics, every 2 or 3 days he'd pop his head up in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, you name it, Brooklyn, New York, and he attracts, tens of thousands of people, 30,000, 50,000, 75,000 people, depending on the venue. And, it's a big deal, all the metal detectors and things to get in, he's it's amazing. I went to an event one time with Marilyn, one of these fly through things, and I think it was Bush 43. Was in a plane pulled up airport, and the private, was on the side of, in the, I'm going to say the north central part of the whole airport is where people, the Palm Beach International Airport, it's a large airport. And on the, I'm going to say the southeastern portion of that is a place for, civil aviation as opposed to commercial aviation. Commercial meaning, the airlines, servicing millions of people a year with the big, jets that hold 100, 200, 300 passengers. This was a private jet, although sizable. He might have had a entourage. This is President Bush 43 when he was candidate Bush 43. Maybe he had 41 the 41st president was George Herbert Walker Bush, and then, Bush 43 was his son. Yeah. George Bush, yeah. Anyway, he flew into the Palm Beach International Airport up there in West Palm Beach area, and Marilyn and I happened to, let's go up and see what that's all about. So we drove up there and stood by the fence. There wasn't like a stadium, and there were probably, but when we got there were 40 or 50 people, pressed up against the fence. Everyone's just standing around and talking with each other and, waiting for this jet to pull up in the vicinity of where we were standing. This is an arranged gathering. And the jet pulls up, and the crowd expanded from 50 or 60 to, let's say, 200. I'm totally swagging it. It's a long time ago. I didn't count noses, but I was just looking around, and it's like a couple hundred people. It was a lot more people than when we showed up. We showed up, let's say 20 or 30 minutes early. We didn't know what kind of crowd it would have been. Anyway, so it was, several hundred people. Maybe 200. That may be a big guess. Anyway, so there we were, and the Bush got, he climbed up on the podium. There was a podium kind of a thing. And then, a bunch of people, dignitaries, got out of the jet and climbed up on the podium. And then some of the local politicians climbed up on the podium. And everyone, was introduced by whoever. And then Bush had a few things to say, and then a few of the other people had things to say. And then, Marilyn and I ducked out of there. We didn't actually see the entire finish of this thing, I don't think. Took some pictures. I have pictures on my website about those. You want to take a look? Why not? You can see the screen. You see right below this picture of people having breakfast. Looks like relatives at a restaurant. Anyway, it says Wilson Picks right there. I can't reverse. This is actually the home screen of my iPad. You can see my finger moving back and forth. All right, I'm going to touch that logo, and then you look on the very top, and you can see 416-1100.com. All right. A little advertisement from the host. So this is the opening page of our website, which we have hundreds of thousands of pictures, and there's one of my favorite shots of the International Polo Club in South Florida, and they clicked their mallets, and there's a name for that. And it makes a very distinctive sound when that happens. There's a name for that, and I don't recall the name. And when I took that picture, the professional photographer with one of the newspapers said, he said, when they clicked, he said, what if I got that shot? And I said, yeah, I wonder. And of course I did. I didn't show it in the viewfinder because I didn't realize I actually had that exact moment. Because he was talking to me about it, and then there was some more polo activity, so I moved on and took some other pictures. Well, we're yakking back and forth, and when I started looking, I said, look at that. We're talking about wonder if we can get this shot, and I got the shot. it's a rarity for someone to actually have gotten that image as a still photographer, as opposed to someone doing a video, and then they just pop the image out of the streaming video, which you can do now. The high definition is so high now. You can literally shoot video and just pluck, if it's shooting like 60 frames a second in 8K or 4K, you've got a 8 million pixel image that you just slide out of the video stream, instead of snapping pictures. You just, the guy's running to reach out and get the football. So instead of having, the fancy finger on the shutter button, you just start a video stream going, when the ball's in the air, and get your camera zoomed in on the right, framing of the receiver getting ready to catch the ball, and you're doing this video, high definition video in 8K, let's say, which I have a digital camera that does 8K. Anyway, what are we looking for? We're looking for a political event. There it is, right there. See, political and government events, right there in the middle of your screen, next to the microphone. Well, I'm going to touch on that. Doing. And there's a picture. This is November 2000. There you go. Campaign pep rally. There we go. See if I describe this properly. There you go. You see the jet in the background. You see Jimmy. Let's see. I'm like 4 or 5 rows. People. They weren't really rows. Just a bunch of people hanging out. You got Secret Service. That guy right there with the sunglasses. And there's the dignitaries. There's Bush and his wife, Bush 43, and then you have, I think, Jeb Bush right behind him. And this is George P. Bush. And so I'm looking around here. There's a better person than myself that could pick people out of the crowd, the entourage behind him. Family members. Not all these, the people that were standing up all got out of the jet. And all these people didn't get out of the jet airplane. Let's say 75% of the people in the background are probably local dignitaries, not people that are on the airplane. And we say it's November 5th, 2000. Ooh, this is right before the election. Yeah. This is a wider view. You can see the airplane is a sizable one. With Bush 2000 written on the plane, you can see the 00 behind there. You see the doors open, and there's a step, rolls up. The airplanes are, they're 20 or 30 feet in the air, with the landing gear and so forth. There's a close-up, George. There's Jeb Bush and George Bush, Bush's wife. And he's talking, and I'm shooting. He's looking this way. Look at you can see then the people are cheering and they're waving. What do you call it? I just happened to find one where the people that were waving the stuff, they're waving back and forth, and I was able to snap a shot where you could see Bush talking and the people waving, but the stuff wasn't like in their faces. And now there's more talk, and I'm just paging down through this. Bush, Cheney. I don't think Cheney was alone. This is 2 p.m. You see right here? 2 p.m. November 5th. Excuse me for... Oh, there's the jet. This is before the event started. They were just rolling up those staircases to offload. I guess that's like a 757 jet, let's say, from the size of the engines. 737, 757. They never had a 740. Well, the 747 is the huge one, yeah. These are Secret Service people setting up before they... This is... So with the Jeb Bush thing, you had the Gore Lieberman people on the other side of the street. And here's a little microwave hookup for TV. There's son Daniel holding a sign, and Marilyn behind him. Part of the Marilyn and Jim show. TV guy. Going down there, see there are people with the, what do you call it thing there, waving, and this is before the jet wasn't there yet. And obviously this is a little earlier, before people showed up. There's, I guess we had one, he doesn't look very happy, does he? This is Daniel, when he was, probably 9 or 10 years old, not very interested in what's going on. The Secret Service people climbing around on buildings. The World War II guy talking. Oh, you know him. He's a famous character in the casino business, and performer. Look at that. There's a younger lad, Giuliani. Boy, the Democratic regime pretty much ruined him. These are all political figures that people should know. George P. Bush, he's land management. There's Jeb Bush behind him. There's Giuliani over on the right side. Jeb Bush. There's front face of Giuliani and Jeb Bush. Anyway, the Democrats ruined Giuliani big time. They prosecuted him for this and that. And, all the money you have to spend defending yourself. If they don't get you in jail, they'll ruin you financially. Destroy. That's probably a better word. So they'll get you one way or the other. You want to avoid being prosecuted by the Department of Justice. And the DOJ should not be weaponized against political rivals, I think is the proper way to say that. This is headlines from a variety of news agencies, which I have chosen to read from. North Carolina trying to resurrect themselves from the wraths of rain, hurricanes. the government is talking about freezing 2.2 billion being given to Harvard to add it to their endowment. They got 40 billion already. They don't need another 2 billion. We can't afford that. We'll just suspend that and do that some other time. And look at this guy. He's going to go to El Salvador. This is the Democratic senator that's going to go there. The president of El Salvador was just here like 2 days ago in Washington, when I say here, sitting with Trump. And Trump said, are you gonna send this guy back? He says, hell no. This is a scumbag. He's in my jail. I'm keeping him in my jail. He's committed lots of crimes here in El Salvador. And I guess that's why you deported him. And of course Trump says, well, yeah. Well, there's pressure internally in our country to try to get you to get him out of your jail. And the guy says, no, he's not getting out of jail. So this senator is going to go down there and talk to him, for a photo op, if you will, to protect the rights of an illegal alien that's, convicted of crimes in El Salvador. We returned him to El Salvador. They put him in their prison, and one of our senators wants him released so this illegal alien can be, put back in the United States. What kind of crap is that? I mean, it's like these Democrats are nuts. And it's not a political statement from me. It's just crazy Looney Tunes stuff. They take the opposite position, even if opposite is ridiculous. They do it anyway. And, I don't know what... I guess they can parse words and, make people say things they didn't say. So here's... this is North Carolina flood, and they're trying to... You can see they're in flood area. Look at this house is built on stilts. So if there's a lot of people that weren't smart. Older construction did not have their places up on stilts. So they're gone. They got washed down with you can see how the water cut through. Jeez. Yeah, water will. You have these hurricane winds that go through areas, mountainous areas, like in this area of North Carolina, and it just rips through and makes a mess. 100-year flood. And I don't know what's going on with this picture and the caption. I've seen it twice now and I don't know what. Anyway, these are a bunch of people protesting. These are all paid, I shouldn't say. A number of these people waving flags or holding signs are paid protesters just to gin up the crowd. Yep, here's Mr. Senator of Maryland or something. There's a guy sitting in the pool. He's got his laptop up on the edge, and he's in the pool. Probably digital nomads are flocking to these, surprisingly affordable cities as popular hubs grow, too expensive. So he's off to somewhere else. And nicely, look at the tiles on in that pool. Nice clean water. I am trained as a biochemist, so I'm real interested in water chemistry and bacteriology and keeping water clean. When I moved into our house in Old Floresta, it had a 3/4 horsepower pump. Is an 18,000, about almost a 20,000 gallon pool, which is a large pool for, the backyard. It was all screened in, beautiful pool, rectangular basically with rounded edges. But the way, it was situated right relatively close to the sliding glass doors of the house, meaning, let's say, 30 feet, and I had everything tiled uniformly. The whole patio area around the pool, it ran right up into the living room, family room thing. You open up those sliding glass doors, it looked like one giant room, indoor, outdoor with a pool. I mean, what a party house in February, if you will. Where you have the outside temperature and the inside temperature are the same. Like 70 degrees, sunny skies. You have a 5 p.m. pool party. You have it catered, of course, because you got 50 people that were invited. I had some people fly in from Buffalo, New York. I think Tom Barone was at one of these parties. President of Marine Midland Realty Credit. It was the arm of the bank that did all the lending, and that's what I did. So I got friendly with him, and I told him about this event, and he and his wife flew down. They stayed in our place, actually, I think, yeah. Yeah, and we had a guest room, I believe. I'm not sure about that part. I know he's in the house often, so I guess as he stayed in the house. But anyway, that's what brings it to mind, seeing that picture. So then I can just flip my finger from the headlines, and then touch that top left corner, and now you have all the stories. Large number of measles cases are being missed by the CDC. So that's not good. We basically stamped out measles from the United States culture. But because of, the Biden administration allowing all these people to just flood our borders, all kinds of diseases now are coming back into fruition in the country. Yeah. So now you have outbreaks of these measles, and people that are like under 15, you're at risk of it can be a deadly disease. Yeah, there's 2 people that died. 2 10-year-old girls. Yeah. So, you get vaccinated for these drugs, but when these people come into the country, and some people, it's been stamped out of our society for decades, so sometimes people don't get the vaccinations they should have, and they end up contracting these diseases that are coming across the border. As sad as that is, but that's the story. There's a story there about watches. I can just, when you can turn the page, look the digital page of no thickness as you go from one side of the page to the other side of the page. But it's just kind of like out of your view a little bit. So I'm turning the page so you can see the picture of that watch. I walked 8,000 steps with the Garmin Vivo Active 6 versus the Apple Watch 10. And here's the results. Let's see. I'll show the reader view. Yeah, see, now you can see that perfectly. And let's see what see, wearing both of them on his while he's marching around doing his step test. Garmin is, they make, very sophisticated equipment, avionics packages for, for the airlines, for commercial jets. You have a Garmin Series 5000, Series 8000, and there's, multi-million-dollar installations in the cockpit of these big airplanes, and Garmin is right in the middle of making that kind of equipment. So they're they are a sophisticated electronics company that apparently is in the watch business also. And you can see, if I do an expando, see 8.6K, and you have like 2 feet there showing step counting. And the watch battery is about out. On his last 10% of battery. This watch, UV, I guess you touch this circle right here, and that keeps track of your. So he's got the Garmin watch in his hand. This is the Apple. So now you got both watches. One watch counted this number of steps. The Apple Watch was short by 9 steps because there are actually 8,000. And the Garmin overcounted to 82. Remember, both watches are on the same arm. And here's the mileage. The actual distance. What Garmin determined the distance was. The Apple Watch says 4.14. Garmin says 4.11. The actual mileage is 4.45. So you can just, these guys, put this stuff through the drill. Average pace. How many steps per, minute. This is a heart rate. And they both accurately measured at 122 beats per minute. Maximum rate, minimum, there's calories. Battery depleted about 10% during this testing period. Just doing a little speed thing here to see. See if they have a conclusion here. Dan is deeply passionate. Yeah, we got that. Let's go back up here. Put it another way. Okay. While the Garmin Instinct 3 administered a shill. That's the problem with these articles. You got to go through all this rigmarole, and of course you go through all this information, which basically says, in my view, it's a tie. Now it's a matter of, which one do you want around your wrist? interesting. Anyway, so I read all this stuff, keep track. People ask me questions, so I need to give them an answer. You know, not that I'm the fact finder for the world, but, you know, people rely on my opinion sometimes. So when someone asks my opinion, I like to give them an informed opinion. And then look at this. Zillionaire girl bosses astonished by backlash to their frivolous trip into space. So here they're all happy they're going up it's a risky business. I mean, the stupid thing could have blown up. I mean, they have blown up. Which, if people are in a manned craft and the rocket ship hopefully it goes up, and hopefully the parachute's open when the thing is coming down, and, you got all this, stuff where you're, So what these ladies found out is that no one really gave a crap that this was happening. These girls, they thought they were going to be paraded around like they're some kind of heroes. The people have thrown tomatoes at them. That's not true. Verbal tomatoes. Yeah, oh my God. I clipped some stories. Some of them, the female models, look at this and say, what are these people doing? Here's a guy that says, here's a tech radar, and this is an article, but they have, the Apple infosphere. You can hit this little button down at the very top. It says Reader View. Touch that right there, and look at it. It strips out all the commercials, and now you can just read the article out of this Reader View source. This guy's watching this. There you go. There's this watch face. You can change the watch face while you're watching it. Doesn't affect the time at all. He's got Snoopy on there. Here's the athletic rings. If the ring is closed, that means you've done the activities necessary to fill up all the different rings. If you're hiking or something or other or whatever, the watch, the Apple Watch is capable of putting a map on there so you can see where the hell you're at, in case you didn't have your phone with you, or if it got lost or stolen. Here are the different stages of sleep. Deep sleep, core sleep, REM sleep. So he's laying in bed and he's awake 36 minutes. You've only got 29 minutes of deep sleep. That looks about like how my sleep is. It's all over the board. 4 hours, 5.5, 6.5 hours. That's 5. 6.5, 7. So he was in bed 7.5 hours, 36 minutes of which he wasn't sleeping yet, but in bed, horizontal. There you go. We got a graphic. This is April 13, 14. 2 o'clock in the afternoon. He's doing a little review. I have the same app on my, charging my watch. There you go. It's fully charged. I'll put it on. What the heck? Remember, we're sitting around the coffee table at Denny's. And if you don't mind, folks, I'm going to put my watch on. It keeps track of everything, your pulse and all this business. Hopefully I have to put my password in. There you go. There's a watch face. that I've got on, which is out of focus. I guess I have, it's a fixed focus lens, and it's focusing on all this stuff here, so you can see what, what we're looking at. Apple Watch Series 10. It's nice, so I charge it, I put it on this little charger thing, which charges it up in about 45 minutes. It's been on there a couple hours. Put it back on. See, I'd rather wear it while I'm sleeping and just take it off during the day and put it on one of these chargers. I have a few of these strategically placed in my bathroom and in the kitchen, here in my little desktop here. I'm doing a little speed reading while I'm talking. I'm multiprocessing. Yes, I am. Apple is reportedly planning a huge future Apple Watch upgrade to turn it into an AI device with onboard cameras. Yeah. I get interested in upgrading, for the watch because of my age, and it keeps track. It saved my life in theory. 6.5 years ago, because the watch started alarming. Alarm was felt vibrate, because it'll vibrate on your wrist, and it'll cause you to take a look at it. And so I looked at it, and it had my pulse on there, and my pulse was like 150. Now my heart doesn't. I don't. If I ran around the building, it wouldn't go to 150. It'd go to like 120 or 125 or something. 150? No, there's something not right about that. Now, I didn't really have a sensation like grabbing my chest and fall to the floor and all. No, I'm sitting on a couch watching the news. All of a sudden I'm looking at, it wasn't an exciting news broadcast either. It was just the same old thing one day later. And 150, so I got my, where is it? There it is. I usually have it right there. There's my handy little blood pressure test kit. I got, you turn it on and you put it on your arm. There's no hoses. It's all a self-contained doodad. It's got a lithium-ion battery. I can put it on right over. I'm putting it on right now. I'm going to put it on over my shirt. It'll read right through my shirt sleeve here. Get this on right. Get it nice and well tight. And it's on. You can't. Let's go. Will you go full screen, please, on Jimmy? You can barely see it. And I press. There it goes. It's bumping up. You can barely see the numbers. I feel it. The battery is like 80%. It's picking up the pulse. Because I see a little heart pulsing. This is probably not too good a test because I'm moving around a bit. It's bumping up tight. There's got to be a better way of doing this. It's 9:45. There was noises that Apple had figured out a way of checking your blood pressure. Let's see, 145 over 91. Let's see if we can just tilt this camera down a little bit. There we go. Let's put my arm out here again. And let's just rotate that around a little bit so you can kind of see it. Touch. Turn the light down a little bit. Let's do that again. If you don't like the first test, do it again. There it goes. It's starting up again. As you can barely see there. It's amazing you can read through my shirt and everything, but back. Seven hidden features that you should start using right now with your Apple Watch. It's got to be almost done with this test. It's cutting off my circulation, for God's sake. My hand is turning blue. 144/93. I don't like. It's a little on the high side. All right, take this thing off. Other than the baby aspirin, I'm not really taking. You know, my blood pressure is a little high. 145/94. That, you know, that I think it's because I'm moving around. I mean, the last time I took a test, which was, you know, just sitting there in the doctor's office, it was like, 128/78. I mean, it was like, you know, the blood pressure of a 25-year-old, you know. That's a nice blood pressure, actually, for a 30-year-old. But I'm 80. 80, oh my God. I turned 80 last month. Oh, jeez. Still kicking, still reading. Camera viewfinder, look at that. From your watch. What the hell would you want a camera in your watch? Apparently they're... Oh, I know what this is. So what this is, you can connect your watch to my Canon camera, for example, and you can actually see in your watch like the viewfinder of the camera, and then you can touch that white button right there and start like a video, and you can control that from your watch. You can see like you're looking through the viewfinder, and you can start and stop a video, for example. If that camera was set up in your office or something, just sitting out on the bookshelf, you turn on the camera and look at through the viewfinder with your Apple Watch. Yeah, Canon has that software with the Apple Watch. How nuts is that, right? Apple Watch music detection, Shazam. So you can turn on that musical detection switch that you can see on the watch. You just flip that switch to the right, turns green, and it'll listen to whatever your music is being played, and it will tell you, what the song is, who wrote it. It'll actually read the words, almost like karaoke, right in your watch. Yeah. How nuts is that? Your watch can hear the music. I've got it on my phone, and it has a similar app on the watch. There's a little calculator in case you had to do some fast math, and there's a little calculator that will pop up on your watch. So that we need to get back, add this. There we go. Please, can you switch it so? Can you swap the cameras so that I'm on the proper side over here? I don't like being on the other side. There you go. This is a view of the what pops up in case you need to do a little calculation. You know, I mean, it's not a big deal. I mean, here's the watch. What is this? This is Tesla stock. Looks like it's trading at $148 a share. $248 a share. Anyway, there's the normal view on the watch face. You just touch the button over here, and there's a thing over here for calculation. You can slide. These are all the apps that are on here. Associated Press, TurboTax. It tells you when your return is there. According to my latest, there's my calendar in case you want to actually go to the calendar app. There's rain aware, a little picture of an umbrella right there. And it'll tell you if there's any rain in the area. The answer is no, it's dry. Anyway, that's back to the watch face. What's this? 90%. This is the state of charge of our... We have a Tesla, right? There's a picture of the Tesla car, and you can see, okay, it's not, the battery is at, we had 258 miles of range in the battery from the watch. I mean, this is real time. Let's go here and just see what this says. I'm going to touch the Tesla app. I haven't done this but 12 days ago on this computer. I've got the app on all my iPads. The app for the Tesla car. It's trying to update right now. We're over 7,000 miles. I'm trying to download the software. Turn the lights back up a little bit. We can go real super bright. No. We're going to turn it down a little bit. I'll let that try to update in the background. Marilyn wanted a couple more of these lights. They cost about $25 a piece. So they're getting delivered today. This light right here, you can see it. There you go. They're really very nice. We can put them out on a patio instead of lighting candles. And it lasts 4 or 5 days, and you plug it back, charge it back up. Lithium-ion battery, lithium polymer. Let's see. It is the package is in Deerfield Beach. It's being processed. This is as of 7:15 in the morning. Anyway, so these lights arrived. It's in the Opa-locka Airport. That's the Miami area. It's amazing. Just think of all the millions and millions of packages being delivered all over, tracked. There's a Lumify, in case you're interested in good eye drops, non-prescription. Lumify is really quite outstanding. Get a bit bigger picture of that for you. So you can see the little bottle. Over your eyes get a little sticky. You know, FDA approved. Whatever that means. FDA's looked at it. Lumify. Works in a minute, lasts up to 8 hours. There's what's in it. Bromamidine tartrate. Ophthalmic solution. That means an eye solution. Ophthalmic. That'll get your tongue twisted, huh? Ophthalmic solution. Ophthalmic, yeah. 0.025%. Redness reliever eye drops. I'm not interested in the redness reliever part. I'm interested in making it so, you know, I use these like once every 3 days. I used to keep a bottle in my pocket. I don't bother anymore. But, you know, it's a 7.5 milliliter bottle. It's a little bottle. You see it says 7.5 milliliters. So it's not much. It's a sterile solution. This is the big bottle. And it's not big, you know. There you go. You can see the relative size of the bottle in someone's hand, in this lady's hand. So it, you know, the cap screws on nicely, and you can keep it in your pocket. I don't have one in my pocket right now. I make sure I have a backup. So. Marilyn has one in her purse, and there's one in the kitchen, which is the place we, you know, in a common place. It's always in the same spot. And Marilyn goes over to it, puts a drop in each eye every morning. I put a drop in each eye last night. It took me like 2 or 3 drops to get a drop in each eye, because it was like at midnight, and I was tired, and I guess my arms were moving around a little bit. And I feel these drops on your floor, you know, on your face, and you're trying to get it in your eyeball. You know, it's just silly stuff. Anyway, it took me. I wasted and you don't want to lick it, you know, as it comes down your cheek when you miss it. And he goes, you'll be going to the bathroom. It is, you know. You don't want to get that stuff near your mouth, oddly enough. I don't know what's in it, and I haven't tested this one, but, you know, like the other common eye drop that you can get. Here's lipoflavonoid. If anyone has a ringing in your ears, you know, the sound that's like in the background of your ears. I take, you know, like, it's a compressed tablet, you know, about the size of a capsule. And I take like 8 of those a day. Oh, excuse me, it's all natural ingredients, so it's not chemistry. And it clears up the ringing in the ears. You know, I mean, it's like magical. I've been taking it for like 6 months. But if anyone that has tendonitis, this riboflavonoid is an amazing bottle of stuff you can buy. It's like 150, you can see 150 in a bottle. Ear ringing, tinnitus, tinnitiu, Look, you can see tinnitus written there. Middle of your screen. Tinnitus. Tinnitus. I-T-U-S. Tinnitus. Yeah. Trying to get the right pronunciation of that word. Tinnitus. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. It has a proprietary Ticina complex, clinically shown to help manage ear ringing. Well, I am here to tell you that that is a statement that they can make, and it is true. I guess it's one of the reasons why they have 150 in a bottle is that, I take like 8 of these a day, 4 in the morning and 4 at night. And so if you take your trusty calculator and you, what is it? See, we're going to clear that. It's 150 in a bottle, divided by 8. So I need 2 bottles, about 2 bottles a month. It's an 18-day supply. One of those bottles. I have, I've got 2. I have 2 of them stacked up in my medicine. I take up a whole cabinet in the kitchen. One of these, that cabinet that's about 18 inches wide. Top to bottom, 18 inches wide, kitchen cabinet. You open up the door, it's all full of all kinds of stuff. Mostly supplements, but they're, Marilyn's taking 2 or 3 prescriptions. I'm taking 2 or 3 prescriptions. Yeah. Jeez. 4 or 5 prescriptions for different things. Tinnitus. So I have 2 bottles of 150, plus I have a bottle over there I have 2 sealed bottles. Just got them yesterday. I like to have that in reserve because you want to keep taking those things. The tinnitus is so annoying to have this frequency. It's like a high-pitched, whistle. It's like a sound. If you have a whistling in your radio or your TV while you're trying to listen to TV, you got this little whistle in the background, high-pitched frequency. It's like noise in your brain, in the connection between the brain and your ear. It has a noisy nerve connection. Yeah, that's what it is, I think. Anyway, this whatever's in that bottle, which is a proprietary blend of, spices and seasonings and things, roots. If I told you what it was, actually was, I don't know if we can actually see it on that bottle. A B complex, a vitamin B complex, maintaining healthy inner ear for the ear nervous system. Vitamin B12 is in this bottle. All right, here's what's in it. Exclusive Ticina complex, 100 milligrams, 1,000 milligrams. That's 1 gram. Because it's milligram, that's 1,000th of a gram, and there's 1,000 milligrams. That makes it 1 gram. There's like 30 grams in an ounce, I think. So this is 1 gram of choline bitartrate, high potency lemon bioflavonoid complex, vitamin B complex, vitamin C, niacin. We've heard of that, right? Niacin all the time. And that last one does pantothenic acid, calcium pantothenate, and 58 milligrams of calcium. That's what's in the pill. Sorry to say, I couldn't hardly read it. There's the official government version of that. Vitamin C, vitamin B1, B2, niacin, vitamin B6, vitamin B12. So you can see all the B's are there. And 2 tablets is the size. I'm taking 4 tablets, twice a day. And they say somewhere in the literature that it's okay to take more than, I just started taking more. And they encourage it. Of course, they're trying to sell their product, but yeah, I'm telling you, it works. So if you've got, this is other ingredients. Look at all this stuff. They have a very carefully balanced product that, that if you keep taking it, it really does the trick. I can tell if I stop taking it within, 12 hours. If I go 24 hours without taking it, the ringing of the ears comes back. Yep. So I always have a couple of bottles in reserve because I don't want to run out of this stuff. And of course, Amazon doesn't run out of it. The Amazon store, yeah. This is all stuff that I've looked at recently. I get our cat food there. I always have 2 bags of that in reserve. They're 6.5 pound bags. I got a nice pair of shoes. He wants to know what do I think about these. I'd like to show you. Yeah, the magic of Amazon. I love it. There's so many different things you can get with Amazon. Let's see, is this thing connected to the car yet? Either the car is not in a place. Let's see, I have my phone here. Let's see if I have any problem seeing my car. I think it's all the way over here. Yeah. 258 miles, that's parked. According to my phone. See, I don't know why this app is, I'm going to close it down. Maybe because there's too many things open here. Alright, let's hit that button there. Can we see where it is? No, it's got a little control problem here. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to Remove the app. Delete it. This is real time, baby. So now I'm going to go to the magnifying glass where you look up stuff. Type in her Tesla. And just, there's Tesla. And this is the app right here. Sometimes when it's time to update the app. There we go. I'm downloading the new version into my iPad. I'll have to log in again, but sometimes you gotta. So if you have a problem, you either restart the iPad in case it hasn't been restarted. This one has. I mean, I worked it over. I was using it like crazy, doing 3 tax returns with TurboTax, which is allow, sign in. We lost it. Yeah, it's internet connection stuff. Yep. That's the problem. Let's try CyberGhost, see what's going on there. Alright, CyberGhost is connected. Let's just make sure we're connected. VPN is connected. Here's the Wi-Fi. That's connected. Let's do a speed test. There's a speed test. We're troubleshooting. You are connected to the internet. That's a good sign. And let's try the speed test. Millisecond, 32-second ping is not very good. 180 megabytes per second. That's download speed. Upload 40 something. Okay. So the speed test is adequate. Let's try the Tesla app again. Now I'll go sign in. I am human. What are we looking at? We're looking for animals. Oh boy. That's feet. We got 3 sets of animals and a pair of feet. Okay. Oh, a couple more animals. I'm not a robot. This is H chapter. The testing software. Oh boy. It wants to send a ping to my phone to make sure I'm not some. Oh, there it is. Now we're logged in properly. 258 miles. And that is the same value I get on my phone here. Which you can see right there, yeah. So I just had to read. It was something. The app was an old version of my Tesla app. And you can see 7 on the bottom there, 7,183 miles of driving in 13 months. Here's the charge information. You can change dates. You can swipe left or right to look at different months. Okay, we got it. We understand. Go away. There we go. So this is mid-month. You can see it's up through the 15th. And that's all the different times we plugged in. Now, this is, now instead of calendar months, this is 30 days. Or the last 31 days, counting backwards from, I guess, yesterday. So it's mid this month to mid last month. It's we've added 348 kilowatts in the last 30 days. I plugged in our garage. And if we were driving with gasoline, it would, at the current gasoline prices, and it goes on the internet to get the average price in this area, it would have cost $154 worth of gasoline. But the current Florida rates are 14 cents a kilowatt. So it costs us $48 instead of $154. So you saved $106 over the last 31 days. And it keeps charge of that. And you can, there's the year. And you can go to the same gasoline. I would have spent $1,700 worth of gas. And instead I paid $581 worth of electricity. So we saved $1,126. I like to look at the monthly. Instead of calendar month, I look at the last 31 days. And this just keeps clicking on, and the bars move, across as the month proceeds, the month of April. And it's about, between $100 and $150 a month saved, because you're not going to a gas station anymore. Just when we need a little fill up, we just plug it in. And it's like plugging into a dryer. The plug is like a dryer plug. If you can go to your dryer and unplug it, that's the circuit that you need if you had one of these in your garage. So you just tell them you need a 50 amp 230 volt circuit. 50 amps is what you want. It actually uses 48. And if I can actually set up the iPad as like a key to open up the car. Yeah. So if I had the iPad in my briefcase, it would unlock the car as I approach the car. Okay, new sign-in activity. So that was a message that my phone, or this app, and this is an app, you can tell it's got these skinny thing. It's designed for an iPhone. New sign-in activity. Tells the exact time when someone signed in. It has iOS version 18.4. I used my proper email address and so forth. And it tells you the time of day it happened, 10:13 a.m. Yep, sure did. Thank you very much. There was a little blue dot up there telling me I had a new message. So you've seen the Tesla app. But I can see some of that on my watch. I can see how many miles we've got left in the fuel tank. There's the App Store, right? We got this app. You saw me do it in live television. And they see 2 weeks ago, version 4.43.5. And the app puts you in direct communication with their vehicles, anytime, anywhere. Some people like the app, some people don't. I happen to like it. It's produced by Tesla. Here's all the things that you can do with the app. They're very Tesla is very security conscious, so that no one can hack into your car, and drive off with it. And if they did drive off with it, we would see it on the map because there's mapping software in the app, and there's a cell system that's actually in the car. So you can locate the car. I can see the car right on this. I can show you here. Oops. The Tesla app is right here. Let's go to. Can I see here? Location. Allow while using the app. Bingo. You see that red arrow? That's the car. And it's parked right in front of this. It's where Marilyn parks every day. There's the Seacoast Bank that she works at. You can zoom back out. Glades Road and Butts. That's it. She's right there. Right catty corner. There's a parking lot next to that Marathon gas station. Yep, you can see the car. So if they stole the car, if someone stole the car, you'd see this little arrow going to wherever they're taking the car. And you just go to the police and call the police, and they show up and say, hey, someone stole my car, here it is. This is where it's going. And the guy will either take off or dispatch someone else. Yep. I've never had the car stolen, so you touch, like on the top of the screen, it's 89%. And my fuel tank is 89% full. And that equates to 257 miles. Yeah. There's an overheat protection feature that I have turned on, so that if the interior of the cabin gets past 95 degrees, it'll turn on the air conditioning and keep the car down, and then it'll turn back off. And if it gets over 95 again, it'll turn back on and bring it down to 75, and then it will, click off, and so it'll do that periodically through the day, and it costs you about let's say 5 to 8 miles of range you lose because of that cabin temperature protection feature. There's nothing worse than getting in a car, after you work 9 to 5, let's say, which Marilyn typically works 8 to 4:30, and so at 5 o'clock she opens the car door and you have 150 degree air flowing in your face, and the seats are hot, and when you have that cabin temperature protection, keeps the interior of the car below 90, below 95, or below 100. You have 3 choices. I think this time of the year I have it set for below, like set at 90. Let's just take a look. climate control. I have it set at 95. See the three settings? A little out of focus, sorry. 90, 95, and 100. Cabin temperature right now is 88. So it's apparently already cycled and brought it down below 95. And it's rising back up again gradually. So over the next 30 minutes, it'll probably get back up to 95 again. And the AC will turn on. And remember, the AC is all electric. So they're like electric motors that control the compressor to produce the coolness. So there's, you don't have like a car, the older cars that were gasoline, where the whole engine, the drive unit that motivates the car, we don't have a big 6 or 8 cylinder engine up front that has to be running in order to turn on the air conditioning. With an electric car, we have a big electric motor in the front and the big electric motor in the rear wheels, and those motors are only activated when you're in the car with your foot on the accelerator pedal. And when you push down the pedal, you go forward if you're driving a Tesla car, and you lift up your foot. So it's one foot driving in a sense. You push your foot down, it goes forward. You lift your foot up, it does the regenerative braking, so that instead of pads, scraping the rotor in your wheels, like brake pads, you rarely touch the brake pedal. I rest my foot on the brake pedal when I'm sitting there at a red light. So I take my foot off the accelerator pedal, slip it over to the brake pedal, and just put my foot on it when I'm stopped at a red light. Because I don't want the car moving one way or the other. No. When you lift your foot off the accelerator pedal, it locks up your brakes so your car won't, if you're like on a hill or something, it won't start rolling backwards or forwards. But I put my foot on the brake pedal anyway, because where else are you going to put your foot? And I don't want to have it on the accelerator pedal. So if I accidentally, flinched and my foot, went down on the accelerator pedal, I don't want to crash into what's in front of me, So if I'm stopped at a red light, I rest my foot on the brake pedal. And when everyone starts to move, I just then move my foot over to the accelerator pedal and depress it. And, so it's single foot driving. You push down on the pedal to go faster, or you hold it at that position, if you're up to 40 miles an hour. And now if it's time to slow down, just lift your foot up off the pedal a little more and it'll start braking. And it operates as a pretty serious braking. It's not jam it braking, but it brakes, more than a casual braking. They've turned that up quite a bit, so that if you're going 60 and you want to slow down, you lift your foot off that accelerator pedal, and it'll bring your speed right down from 60 to 30, in a couple of seconds as you're riding. So the regenerative braking is really stepped up. It's an important part of the overall miles that you get when you drive, from a full car to an empty car. It's interesting. You have a whole new way of, thinking about driving a car. It's like driving if you've ever been on a golf course, where you're driving, whoops. I got a phone call. I've been on the air a while. I'll get back to you tomorrow. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, so I remember this happening kind of a couple years ago where